Good evening, dear listener. May your night be gentle and your heart at ease. Picture yourself in a quiet moment, the world hushed around you, as if time itself has paused to breathe. The air is soft, carrying the faint whisper of a breeze rustling through ancient olive groves, their silver leaves catching the glow of a rising moon. You hear the distant trickle of a spring, its waters shimmering under starlight, and see the warm flicker of torches lining a village path in ancient Greece. It's a scene that feels both far away and strangely close, inviting you to settle in and let the night unfold. Tonight, you're stepping into a story of love and ritual, one that hums with the rhythms of a world long past. You'll wander through the customs of an ancient Greek wedding, where every gesture, from the bride's sacred bath to the torchlit procession, carries the weight of tradition and the warmth of community. It's not a tale of grand battles or lofty gods, but of ordinary people weaving their lives together under the watchful stars. So, take a deep breath, let the day slip away, and come with me to a village where a wedding is about to begin, its quiet magic ready to carry you into the heart of history. Part 1. You find yourself standing on a dusty path. The air warm and heavy with the scent of olive trees. The sun dips low, painting the hills of ancient Greece in shades of amber and rose. A village hums softly ahead, its whitewashed houses glowing under the evening's first stars. You feel the earth beneath your sandals, firm yet forgiving, as if it's been trodden by countless souls before you. Somewhere nearby, a lyre's gentle notes drift, mingling with the rustle of leaves. It's a night for celebration, for promises made under the gods' watchful eyes. A wedding is stirring, and you're here to witness it unfold, step by quiet step. The village feels alive, yet hushed, as if holding its breath. You notice women bustling near a low stone house, their laughter soft, like the clink of pottery cups. They're preparing for the bride, whose name you imagine might be Calliope or Irene, something as timeless as the hills. Marriage in ancient Greece isn't just a union of two people, it's a thread woven into the fabric of family, city, and cosmos. You sense the weight of it, not heavy but grounding, like the roots of the gnarled trees around you. The Greeks believed a good marriage pleased the gods, especially Hera, who guards the hearth. Tonight, her presence feels close, though you're not sure if it's her or just the twilight playing tricks. You step closer to the village square, where torches are being lit, their flames flickering like tiny promises. The air carries the tang of burning resin, sharp yet soothing. You imagine modern weddings, white dresses, tiered cakes, awkward speeches, and smile at how different this feels. No DJ, no photo booth. Just raw ritual and community. Yet isn't there something familiar in the nervous excitement? You've seen it in brides texting last-minute plans or grooms fumbling with cufflinks. Love's jitters haven't changed much in 2 millennia. You chuckle quietly, imagine a Greek bride tweeting, "About to bathe in the sacred spring, #blessed by Hera." The main event tonight is still hours away, but the village is already weaving its magic. You pass a group of children chasing each other, their giggles rising like bubbles. One trips, and you wince, but he's up in a flash, unbothered. It's a reminder, life here is simple, yet every moment is steeped in meaning. The wedding's first ritual, the bride's sacred bath, is being prepared. You learn it's not just a dip in water but a cleansing of spirit, a shedding of her old self. The women are gathering latrophoroi, tall, elegant vases, to carry water from a sacred spring. You picture the clay cool in their hands, the faint drip of water as they walk. There's a quirky detail you overhear. The spring's water must come from a specific place. Like the Enneakronos fountain in Athens, believed to be touched by nymphs. It's a bit absurd, you think. Nymphs probably don't care about plumbing logistics. But the Greeks took it seriously. You imagine a modern equivalent, like insisting your wedding cake be baked with flour from a holy farm. It's charming, in its own way, how humans cling to these odd traditions. Scholars still debate whether the bath was purely symbolic or tied to fertility rites. But you let that question drift, content to soak in the moment. You pause by a low wall. the stone rough under your fingers. The village feels like a painting, each detail deliberate, the flicker of oil lamps, the faint bleat of goats in the distance. The way the air cools as night settles. You're not here to rush through history's pages but to linger, to let its rhythms lull you. The wedding's first steps are humble. Yet they carry the weight of centuries. You think of the bride, maybe nervous, maybe dreaming of her new life. What does she feel, standing on this threshold? You'll find out soon. As the night deepens and the rituals begin, the lyre's notes grow fainter, and you notice the stars now dotting the sky, sharp and countless. You feel a yawn creeping up. Good. This story's meant to ease you, to wrap you in its gentle cadence. You recall that ancient Greeks sometimes used olive oil mixed with herbs as a proto-sunscreen during outdoor feasts. Imagine slathering that on today. You'd smell like a salad. It's a small, silly thought, but it grounds you here, in this world of torchlight and tradition. The women are moving now. Their voices a soft chorus, heading toward the spring. You follow, your steps light, ready to see what the night holds. Part 2. You trail the women through the village, their sandals whispering against the packed earth. The night has deepened, and the air feels cooler, laced with the faint sweetness of blooming jasmine. Torches cast long shadows, dancing on the walls of houses as the group moves toward the sacred spring. You're drawn to the litrophora they carry, those tall vases, their handles curved like swan necks, glinting faintly in the firelight. The bride walks among them, her steps measured, her face hidden beneath a shawl. You sense her quiet focus, as if she's gathering herself for what lies ahead. This is her moment, the ritual bath, where she'll cleanse not just her body but her past, readying herself for a new life. The path slopes gently downward, and you hear the soft gurgle of water before you see it. The spring emerges from a cluster of rocks, its surface catching starlight like a mirror. You imagine dipping your fingers in, cool, sharp, alive. The women set their vases down, and one begins to hum, a low, soothing melody that feels older than the hills. This bath isn't just practical, it's a sacred act. A plea to the gods for purity and protection. You picture Hera or Artemis watching from some unseen perch, their divine eyes soft with approval. Or maybe it's just the night's stillness making everything feel holy. You kneel by the spring's edge, unnoticed, as the women fill the litrophora. The water splashes lightly, and you catch a whiff of wet stone, grounding and clean. The bride steps forward, her shawl slipping slightly to reveal a braid woven with tiny flowers. Two older women, her mother perhaps, and an aunt, guide her to kneel. They pour water over her shoulders, and you see her shiver, though whether from cold or nerves, you can't tell. The act feels intimate yet communal, as if the whole village is woven into this moment. You think of modern bridal showers, all giggles and champagne, and smile, same vibe, different props. There's a quirky detail you notice. One woman sprinkles dried herbs into the water, murmuring something about warding off bad spirits. It's a bit like tossing salt over your shoulder today, except here they're dead serious about those spirits. You imagine a Greek grandma insisting, "No herbs, no luck," and chuckle softly. It's endearing, how these small acts carry such weight. The herbs might be lavender or thyme, nobody's sure, and historians still argue whether they were symbolic or medicinal. You let the debate slide, content to watch the water ripple under the torchlight. The women's voices rise now, a chant that's half prayer, half song. You don't understand the words, but their cadence soothes. Like a lullaby you've always known. The bride stands, water dripping from her hair, and you see her shoulders relax, as if she shed some invisible burden. This ritual, you learn, isn't just for her, it's for the gods, the family, the future. Marriage here is a contract, yes, but also a sacred bridge between mortal and divine. You feel the gravity of it, not heavy but steady, like the spring's ceaseless flow. You glance at the sky, where the moon now hangs, pale and full. It's a perfect night for rituals, you think, and wonder if the Greeks picked it for that reason. Probably. They were sticklers for omens. Imagine a wedding planner today obsessing over lunar phases. You stifle a laugh, picturing a spreadsheet titled, Moon God's Approval Ratings. The women are packing up now, their vases full, ready to return. The bride lingers a moment, gazing at the spring. What's she thinking? You wish you could ask, but her silence feels right. Part of the night's quiet magic. As you follow them back, the village comes into view, its lamps glowing like fireflies. You recall the olive oil, sunscreen, from earlier. Imagine slathering that on before a bath like this. You'd be a walking orchard. The thought brings a sleepy smile. The women's chatter grows softer. And you feel your own eyelids droop, the night's rhythm pulling you under. This is what the story's for, after all, to ease you, to let history's whispers carry you somewhere gentle. The bride's bath is done, but the wedding's just beginning. You sense the next step waiting, like a shadow moving closer. Part 3. You're back in the village now. The air thick with the scent of crushed herbs and warm clay. The women guide the bride toward her family's house, their latrophora balanced gracefully, water sloshing faintly inside. You follow. Your steps soft on the worn path, feeling the night's calm settle deeper. The house glows with lamplight, its open courtyard bustling with quiet purpose. You slip inside unnoticed, and find the bride seated on a low stool, her damp hair catching the flicker of flames. Her mother and sister surround her, their hands moving with care, readying her for the next ritual. Adorning her for the wedding. You sense the weight of this moment, not heavy but tender, like a melody played on a single lyre string. The room hums with soft voices. A weave of instructions and laughter. You watch as they drape a fine peplos over the bride's shoulders, its folds falling like liquid moonlight. The fabric is dyed saffron, a hue reserved for sacred moments, and you imagine its faint musk, earthy and rich. A veil comes next, thin as a spider's web, embroidered with tiny stars. You learn this veil isn't just decorative, it's a shield, guarding her from envious spirits until the groom lifts it. You think of modern brides fussing over lace or tulle and smile. Same nerves, different ghosts. Imagine a Greek bride posting her veil on Instagram, captioned, "Ready for Hera's vibes." There's an odd custom you notice. One sister pins a small amulet to the bride's dress. A carved stone shaped like an eye. It's meant to deflect the evil eye. A fear so real they'd sooner skip the wedding than forget this charm. You chuckle quietly. Imagine a modern wedding planner pitching evil eye pins as the next big trend. It's quirky, but it grounds you in their world, where every detail carries a story. Scholars still debate whether these amulets were purely superstitious or tied to older fertility cults, but you let the question drift, caught in the room's gentle rhythm. The women weave flowers into the bride's hair, myrtle, sacred to Aphrodite, their scent sharp and green. You lean closer, catching the faint crunch of petals under nimble fingers. A bronze mirror is held up, and you see the bride's reflection, her eyes wide, maybe with awe or nerves. Her mother adjusts a golden diadem, its weight slight but regal. You feel the intimacy of this scene, the way each touch binds the family closer. It's not just about beauty, it's about transformation, marking her shift from daughter to wife. You recall the sacred bath, the water's cool touch, now this, another layer of ritual, wrapping her in meaning. The courtyard outside hums with preparations, but here, time feels slower. Like honey dripping from a spoon. You notice a young girl, maybe a cousin, sneaking a sip of wine from a table, then giggling when caught. You stifle a laugh. Some things never change. Whether in ancient Greece or a modern reception hall. The women chatter about the groom, his family, the dowry. You learn the bride's trousseau includes linen she wove herself. A skill as vital then as budgeting is now. Imagine her weaving late at night, dreaming of this day. It's a small detail, but it makes her real, not just a figure in history's pages. You step back. Leaning against the cool stone wall, the texture rough under your palm. The air carries the tang of burning oil and the faint bleat of goats outside. You feel a yawn creeping up. The story's cadence lulling you as intended. The bride stands now, her veil shimmering, ready for the feast that will follow. You think of that olive oil, sunscreen, again. Imagine her family slathering it on for the procession later. You'd smell like a Mediterranean picnic. The thought brings a sleepy grin. The women are moving, their voices a soft chorus, and you sense the next ritual approaching, like a tide rolling in. Part 4. You leave the bride's bustling courtyard. The scent of myrtle and saffron lingering in your memory, and step into the cooler night. The village is alive with whispers of the coming wedding, but you turn toward a quieter house, where the groom prepares. His home is smaller, its walls weathered by sun and time, yet there's a warmth here, a steady hum of purpose. You slip through the open door, the air carrying the faint tang of cedar and wool. Inside, the groom stands, surrounded by his father and brothers, their voices low and deliberate. You sense his resolve, a quiet strength beneath the weight of this day. This is his moment, simpler than the bride's but no less sacred, as he readies himself for the union that will reshape his life. The room is sparsely lit, oil lamps casting soft shadows on the clay walls. You watch as the groom, perhaps named Nikias or Theron, adjusts a short chiton. Its white folds crisp against his tanned skin. His attire is plain compared to the bride's, but there's pride in its simplicity, a nod to his role as provider. His father hands him a small clay vessel filled with wine, an offering for Apollo, the god of order and harmony. You hear the faint splash as he pours it onto a stone altar in the corner. The act deliberate, almost meditative. You think of modern grooms pacing before the altar, checking their watches, same nerves, different gods. There's a peculiar tradition you catch. One of his brothers, with a sly grin, insists on shaving the groom's beard, a ritual marking his transition to manhood and marriage. The blade scrapes softly, and you wince at the thought of nicks. But the groom stays steady, his jaw set. It's an odd custom, you think. Imagine a modern barber pitching pre-wedding shaves as a bonding moment. You chuckle softly, picturing a hashtag like #cleanshave for Hera. Scholars still debate whether this shaving was symbolic of youth's end or just a practical grooming habit, but you let the question fade, drawn to the room's quiet intimacy. The men speak in hushed tones about the bride's family, the dowry, the god's favor. You learn the groom has already visited a seer, seeking omens in the flight of birds. A hawk circled twice, good luck, they say. You smile, thinking of couples today checking weather apps obsessively before an outdoor wedding. The groom's mother enters, her hands full of dried figs, which she presses into his palms as a blessing for prosperity. You catch their sweet, earthy scent, grounding you here. The figs feel like a promise, small but heavy with hope, tying this moment to the land and its cycles. You lean against the doorway, the wood smooth under your fingers. Outside, the village hums. But here, the world feels small, centered on this family. You notice a young boy, maybe the groom's nephew, sneaking a fig from the pile, his cheeks puffing as he chews. You stifle a laugh. Kids at weddings, always the same, whether stealing candy or fruit. The groom kneels now, murmuring a prayer to Zeus, his voice steady but soft. You feel the weight of his words. Not grand but earnest, asking for strength to build a home. It's a reminder, marriage here isn't just love, it's duty, alliance, survival. The air grows cooler, and you glance at the sky, where stars burn brighter now. You recall the bride's sacred bath, the water's cool shimmer, and now this, the groom's quieter rites. You wonder if they're thinking of each other, separated by stone walls but bound by the night's promise. A yawn tugs at you, the story's rhythm weaving its spell. You think of that olive oil, sunscreen, again. Imagine the groom's brothers joking about slathering it on for the procession. You'd smell like a walking olive grove. The thought brings a sleepy smile. The men are moving now, their voices rising, readying for the feast. You follow, the night pulling you deeper into its gentle tide. Part 5. You step out into the village night. The groom's quiet preparations fading behind you as you weave through narrow paths toward the bride's family home. The air is rich with the scent of roasted meat and warm bread, curling through the darkness like an invitation. Torches flicker ahead, guiding you to a courtyard ablaze with life. You slip into the crowd, unnoticed. As the pre-wedding feast unfolds, a lavish farewell to the bride before she leaves her childhood home. The tables groan under clay platters of figs, olives, and glistening fish, while wine flows freely, its sharp tang mingling with laughter. You feel the warmth of the gathering, not just from the fire but from the shared joy, tinged with a bittersweet edge. The bride sits at the center, her saffron peplos glowing under the lamplight, her veil now loosened to reveal a shy smile. You watch her pick at a piece of bread, her eyes darting between her parents and the guests. Her mother, a sturdy woman with braided hair, refills cups, her movements brisk yet tender. You sense the unspoken farewell in every glance. This feast is as much about letting go as celebrating. Musicians pluck lyres and blow alloy, their notes weaving a melody that's both lively and haunting. You think of modern rehearsal dinners, all toasts and clinking glasses and grin. Same heart, different tunes. There's a quirky habit you notice. Some guests tuck bits of bread into their cloaks, a superstitious act to ensure the couple's future prosperity. It's oddly charming. Like sneaking cake home from a wedding today, though you imagine the crumbs making a mess. You chuckle softly, picturing a Greek guest muttering, "For luck, not lunch!" Historians still debate whether this bread hoarding was a fertility charm or just practical frugality, but you let the question slip, caught in the feast's rhythm. The air hums with chatter, stories of old weddings, God's blessings, and the bride's dowry, a hefty bundle of linens, pottery, and silver. You lean against the courtyard wall, the stone cool against your back, and take in the scene. A young man spills wine on his chiton, laughing it off as his friends tease him. You stifle a grin. Some things, like party fowls, are timeless. The food is simple but abundant: barley cakes, roasted lamb, and honeyed sesame seeds that stick to your imaginary fingers. You learn the dowry was negotiated months ago, a contract sealing the family's alliance. It's practical, almost clinical, yet the feast feels anything but. You picture the bride weaving those linens late at night, her hands steady, dreaming of this moment. It's a small detail, but it anchors her in your mind. The music shifts, slower now, and you notice the bride's father stand, his voice cutting through the din. He speaks of duty, of Hera's watchful gaze, and you feel the crowd lean in, their faces softened by wine and firelight. This feast, you realize, is the last time the bride belongs fully to her family. Tomorrow, she'll cross the threshold to a new home. You think of the sacred bath, the water's cool clarity, and the groom's quiet prayers, each step building to this night. The mood isn't sad, but it's heavy, like the last page of a favorite book. You wonder how she feels, caught between two worlds, her future shimmering just out of reach. You glance at the sky, where the moon hangs like a silver coin. A breeze carries the scent of olive groves, and you feel a yawn creeping up, the story's cadence wrapping you in its gentle lull. The thought brings a sleepy smile. The feast is winding down now, the crowd thinning as the procession looms. You sense the torches being readied, their flames eager for the night's next act. You follow the murmur of voices, ready to walk with them into the dark. Part 6. You linger at the edge of the fading feast, the courtyard's warmth still clinging to your skin as the crowd begins to stir. The night feels alive, the air sharp with anticipation and the smoky tang of torches being lit. You watch as men and women gather, their voices rising in a soft, rhythmic chant, like waves lapping at a shore. The bride stands, her saffron peplos catching the firelight, her veil once again draped over her face. It's time for the torchlit procession, the sacred march that will carry her from her father's house to her new home. You fall into step with the crowd, your sandals silent on the earth, drawn into the pulse of this ancient rite. The torches crackle, casting golden pools of light on the village path. You feel their heat, faint but steady, and smell the resin burning, sharp and woody. The procession moves slowly, deliberately, as if the night itself is holding its breath. The bride walks at the center, flanked by her parents, her steps measured but firm. You catch glimpses of her through the crowd, her hands clasped, her head slightly bowed. Musicians lead the way, their lyres and flutes weaving a melody that's both solemn and hopeful. You think of modern wedding marches, all organ swells and white aisles and smile. Same journey, different soundtrack. There's an odd custom you notice. Children scamper alongside, tossing handfuls of nuts and dried fruit at the procession, their giggles cutting through the chants. It's meant to bring luck and fertility, a playful ritual that feels like confetti at a modern reception. You chuckle softly, imagining a Greek kid pelting the bride with almonds, shouting, "Score 1 for Aphrodite!" Historians still debate whether this nut throwing was purely symbolic or a practical way to share food, but you let the thought drift, caught in the procession's sway. The nuts crunch underfoot, and you wince. Someone's cleaning that up later. The village fades behind you, its lamps growing distant as the path winds toward the groom's house. You pass olive groves, their leaves silver in the moonlight, and hear the faint hoot of an owl, a sign of Athena's watchful eye. Or maybe it's just an owl. You grin at the thought. Greeks saw omens everywhere. Like checking your horoscope before swiping on a dating app. The crowd's chants grow louder, invoking Hera and Hestia, goddesses of marriage and hearth. You feel the words' weight. Not heavy but grounding, tying this moment to something eternal. The bride's parents walk closer now, their hands brushing hers, a silent farewell. You pause for a moment, letting the procession move ahead, and lean against a gnarled tree, its bark rough under your palm. The night is cool, the stars sharp above, and you feel the story's rhythm pulling you deeper. Like a tide you don't fight. You recall the bride's sacred bath, the water's cool shimmer, and the feast's warm laughter, each step leading here, to this march through the dark. The groom waits somewhere ahead, his own rituals complete, his heart may be racing as much as hers. You wonder what they'll say when they meet, or if words will even matter. The procession slows as the groom's house comes into view, its courtyard glowing with more torches. You catch a whiff of honey and thyme, offerings burning somewhere nearby. And it grounds you in this world of fire and song. You think of that olive oil, sunscreen, again. Imagine the bride's family slathering it on to shine in the torchlight. You'd look like a glazed pastry. The thought brings a sleepy chuckle. A yawn tugs at you, the night's cadence weaving its spell, meant to ease you into history's gentle embrace. The procession halts now, the chants softening, and you sense the next ritual approaching, the threshold waiting like a promise. Part 7. You stand at the edge of the groom's courtyard. The torchlit procession halting as the crowd gathers in a loose semicircle. The night air feels charged, heavy with the scent of burning thyme and the faint sweetness of honey. The bride pauses before the house, her saffron veil shimmering under the flickering flames, her parents close at her side. You sense the moment's weight, not dramatic but profound, as she prepares to cross the threshold into her new life. The groom waits just inside, his silhouette visible through the open door, steady yet expectant. You lean closer, drawn to this ritual, where every step feels like a vow etched in starlight. The crowd's chants fade to a murmur, and you hear the soft rustle of the bride's peplos as she moves forward. Two men, perhaps the groom's brothers, step up, their hands gentle but firm, and lift her over the threshold, her feet barely grazing the ground. You catch the faint gasp from her, a mix of surprise and nerves and smile. This act, you learn, isn't just practical, it's sacred, ensuring no misstep invites bad omens. You think of modern brides carried over doorways, all giggles and champagne, and grin. Same heart, different stakes. Imagine a Greek couple posting this moment online captioned, "Nailed the threshold lift, #Hera approved." There's a quirky detail you notice. Someone smears honey on the doorframe as the bride passes, a sticky offering to sweeten the couple's future. It's charmingly odd. Like leaving a Yelp review for the gods. 5 stars for prosperity, please. You chuckle softly, picturing the mess on someone's chitin later. Historians still debate whether this honey ritual was about fertility or simply a nod to abundance. But you let the question slip, caught in the moment's quiet magic. The honey glistens in the torchlight, and you imagine its cloying scent, mingling with the night's cool breath. Inside, the groom steps forward, his face softened by lamplight. You see him lift the bride's veil, his hands steady but careful, revealing her eyes, wide, searching, maybe a little shy. The crowd exhales, a collective release, as if the gods themselves approve. You feel the intimacy of this first shared glance, a bridge between their separate worlds. The room is small, its clay walls warm with the glow of oil lamps, and you notice woven rugs underfoot. Their patterns faded but intricate. You recall the bride's sacred bath, the feast's laughter, the procession's chants, each step leading to this, their first moment as one. You slip to the side. Leaning against a wooden beam, its grains smooth under your fingers. The air carries the faint bleat of goats outside, grounding you in this village night. A young girl, maybe a sister, sneaks a piece of barley cake from a table, her grin mischievous. You stifle a laugh. Kids and wedding snacks, a universal constant. The groom's mother approaches now, offering the couple a pomegranate, its red skin split to reveal jewel-like seeds. You learn it's a symbol of fertility and unity, its tart sweetness a promise of shared joys. You imagine biting into one now, the juice sharp on your tongue. The crowd begins to chant again, softer now, invoking Hestia, goddess of the hearth. You feel the words' rhythm, like a lullaby weaving through the night. You glance at the sky, where stars burn bright above the courtyard, and a yawn tugs at you, the story's cadence easing you deeper. You think of that olive oil, sunscreen, again. Imagine the groom's brothers joking about slathering it on for this moment, shining like bronze statues. You'd smell like a festival stall. The thought brings a sleepy smile. The ritual is complete, the bride welcomed, and you sense the next step stirring, the courtyard ready to burst into celebration. Part 8. You linger in the groom's courtyard, the threshold ritual still echoing in the air like a fading note. The night feels softer now, the torches burning low, their resinous smoke curling into the starlit sky. The bride stands beside the groom, her veil fully removed, her face catching the lamplight's warm glow. You see the crowd shift, their murmurs rising as the groom's family steps forward to welcome her, their arms laden with gifts and blessings. This is the moment of integration, where she becomes part of a new hearth. A new story. You lean closer, drawn to the quiet exchange, each gesture heavy with meaning, yet wrapped in the night's gentle calm. The groom's mother approaches first, her hands cradling a woven basket filled with quince and pomegranates, their colors vivid against the muted clay walls. You catch the fruit's faint sweetness, sharp and grounding, as she offers them to the bride with a murmured prayer to Hestia. These gifts, you learn, aren't just tokens, they're symbols of prosperity and unity, tying the couple to the land and its cycles. You think of modern welcome gifts, maybe a toaster or a gift card, and smile. Same intent, different flavor. Imagine the bride tweeting, "Just got my quince haul, #new family vibes." There's an eccentric detail you notice. One of the groom's aunts ties a small woolen thread around the bride's wrist, whispering about binding good fortune. It's a quirky custom, like wearing a Lucky Charm bracelet today, except here, they believe the thread might sway the fates themselves. You chuckle softly, picturing a Greek auntie insisting, "No thread, no luck." Historians still debate whether this was a local tradition or tied to broader weaving metaphors for marriage, but you let the thought drift, caught in the courtyard's warmth. The thread dangles, soft and unassuming, as the bride smiles, her fingers brushing it lightly. You step back, finding a spot near a low table piled with barley cakes and wine jugs. The air hums with voices, the crowd's energy lifting as the formalities ease. You notice the groom's father, a wiry man with a weathered face, offering the bride a bronze pin shaped like a laurel leaf. A nod to Apollo's protection. She pins it to her peplos, her movements careful, and you sense her settling into this new role, step by tentative step. You recall the torchlit procession. The nuts crunching underfoot, the honey-smeared doorframe, each ritual building to this, her acceptance into the fold. A young boy, maybe a cousin, darts through the crowd, nearly knocking over a jug. You stifle a laugh. Kids at weddings, always chaos in small doses. The boy's mother grabs him, muttering, and you catch the glint of amusement in her eyes. The scene feels alive, not grand but human, stitched together by these small moments. You learn the groom's family has been preparing for days, weaving baskets, baking bread, even consulting a seer about the best omens. You think of modern in-laws obsessing over seating charts or floral arrangements. Same fuss, different gods. You lean against the courtyard wall, the stone cool and rough under your palm. The night air carries the faint bleat of goats, and the rustle of olive leaves beyond the village. You feel a yawn creeping up, the story's rhythm lulling you, as it's meant to, into a gentle haze. You think of that olive oil, sunscreen, again. Imagine the groom's family slathering it on to shine for this welcome. You'd smell like a walking orchard. The thought brings a sleepy grin. The gifts are done now, the blessings spoken, and you sense the courtyard stirring, ready for the feast that will bind this night in joy. Part 9. You remain in the groom's courtyard. The air now thick with the scents of roasted lamb, warm bread, and spilled wine. The welcoming rituals have softened into a hum of celebration, and the wedding feast unfolds like a tapestry woven with laughter and song. You find a spot near a long wooden table, its surface crowded with clay platters of glistening fish, honeyed figs, and sesame-dusted cakes. The crowd presses close, their voices rising over the trill of flutes and the pluck of lyres. The bride and groom sit together at the center, their shoulders brushing, their faces lit by the glow of oil lamps. You feel the night's joy, not wild but deep, like a river running steady beneath the stars. Guests pass jugs of wine, their chatter weaving stories of old loves and divine blessings. You catch the sharp tang of the wine, mixed with the earthy warmth of barley bread, and imagine tasting it, tart, bold, grounding. A poet stands, his voice clear as he recites a hymn to Aphrodite, each word a thread tying the couple to the gods. You learn these poems are as vital as the food, a way to honor the divine and entertain the mortal. You think of modern wedding speeches, all awkward jokes and teary toasts, and smile. Same heart, different poetry. Imagine the poet live streaming this, ## ode to love. There's an odd habit you notice. Some guests tuck bits of bread into their napkins, not for luck this time but to sneak home as a keepsake. A quirky memento of the night. It's endearing, like pocketing a party favor today, though you imagine the crumbs making a mess by morning. You chuckle softly, picturing a guest muttering, "This bread's my souvenir." Historians still debate whether this was a sentimental act or tied to rituals for household spirits, but you let the question fade, drawn to the feast's lively pulse. The bread's crust crumbles under someone's fingers, and you wince. Good luck cleaning that chitin. You lean closer, watching the bride pick at a fig, her eyes darting to the groom as he laughs at a friend's jest. You sense their ease, a quiet bond forming amid the noise. The tables are a mosaic of color, green olives, red pomegranates, golden honey drizzled over cheese. You recall the quince and pomegranates from the welcome, their sweetness lingering in your memory, and now this, a feast to seal the union. A young woman, maybe a cousin, spills wine on her dress and giggles, unbothered. You stifle a laugh, wedding mishaps, as timeless as the stars above. The music shifts, faster now, and a few guests begin to sway, their sandals scuffing the packed earth. You learn the feast isn't just about eating, it's a communal act, a way to knit the families together. The groom's father raises a cup. his voice rough but warm, toasting Hera and the couple's future. You feel the crowd's approval, a ripple of nods and murmurs. You think of the torchlit procession, the honey on the doorframe, the woolen thread on the bride's wrist, each step leading here, to this moment of shared abundance. You wonder what the couple feels, surrounded yet alone in their new world. You step back, finding a cool stone bench to rest against, the night air brushing your skin with the faint rustle of olive leaves. A yawn tugs at you, the story's cadence weaving its sleepy spell, meant to ease you into history's gentle arms. You think of that olive oil, sunscreen, again. Imagine the guests slathering it on to shine at this feast, their faces gleaming like bronze. You'd smell like a walking market stall. The thought brings a drowsy grin. The feast is peaking now, the poet's voice rising, and you sense the next ritual stirring. The night ready to carry you deeper. Part 10. You stay rooted in the groom's courtyard, the wedding feast's warmth wrapping around you like a soft cloak. The air hums with laughter, the clink of clay cups, and the fading notes of a poet's hymn, but your attention shifts to a new ritual unfolding. Guests are rising, one by one, to present gifts to the bride and groom, their offerings piling up on a low table near the couple. You edge closer, drawn to the flicker of lamplight on polished pottery, and the faint bleat of a goat being led forward. This is the giving of wedding gifts, each item a wish for the couple's future, woven with meaning as old as the hills. You feel the night's rhythm, steady and soothing, pulling you deeper into its gentle tide. The gifts are practical yet symbolic, a blend of utility and hope. You watch a burly man, perhaps an uncle, present a tall amphora. It's clay glazed with swirling patterns, meant to store olive oil or grain. A woman follows, offering a woven blanket, its threads dyed deep indigo, a promise of warmth for the couple's hearth. You catch the blanket's faint woolly scent, grounding and soft, and imagine its weight on a winter night. You think of modern gift registries, blenders, wine glasses, cash, and smile. Same love, different loot. Imagine the couple posting their haul online captioned, Amphora goals, #Greek wedding vibes. There's a bizarre trend you notice. One guest, a grinning neighbor, presents a small cage with 2 doves, their feathers ruffling as they coo softly. It's an odd gift, meant to symbolize peace and love, but you imagine the couple wondering who's cleaning the cage. You chuckle quietly, picturing a Greek guest muttering, "Doves for romance, headaches for free." Historians still debate whether these bird gifts were common or a quirky regional custom. But you let the question drift, caught in the moment's charm. The dove's soft coos blend with the crowd's murmurs, a delicate note in the night's symphony. You lean closer, noticing the bride's careful nod as she accepts each gift, her hands brushing the groom's as they share a glance. A young girl offers a simple clay cup, her gift humble but earnest. And you see the bride smile, her fingers lingering on its smooth curve. You learn these gifts aren't just for the couple, they're for the household, the life they'll build together. A farmer leads in a bleating goat, its rope taut, a promise of milk and cheese. You recall the pomegranates from the welcome, the feast's honeyed figs, each moment layering this union with abundance. A boy, maybe a brother, trips while carrying a basket of apples, scattering them across the dirt. You stifle a laugh, wedding chaos, always a universal spark. The boy scrambles to gather them, his cheeks flushed, and the crowd chuckles unbothered. You sense the ease here, the way the gifts bind the community, not just the couple. You think of the torchlit procession, the honey-smeared doorframe, the poet's hymn, each step leading to this, a tangible pledge of support. You wonder what the couple feels, surrounded by these tokens, their future taking shape in clay and wool. You step back, finding a cool stone wall to lean against, its texture rough under your palm. The night air carries the faint rustle of olive groves and the distant hoot of an owl. A yawn tugs at you, the story's cadence lulling you, meant to wrap you in history's sleepy embrace. You think of that olive oil, sunscreen, again. Imagine the guests slathering it on to shine as they present their gifts, gleaming like statues. You'd smell like a festival stall. The thought brings a drowsy grin. The gift-giving slows now, the table overflowing, and you sense the next ritual stirring, the night ready to lift its voice in song. Part 11. You remain in the groom's courtyard, the pile of wedding gifts, amphorae, blankets, even those cooing doves, glimmering faintly under the torchlight. The feast's lively hum has softened, and a new ritual begins to take shape, drawing your gaze to a small group of priests stepping forward. Their robes, dyed deep blue, rustle as they carry a bronze tripod filled with smoldering barley grains. You catch the nutty, smoky scent, sharp yet soothing, as they raise their voices in hymns to the gods, blessing the couple's union. This is the sacred heart of the wedding, a moment where mortal vows meet divine approval. You lean closer, feeling the night's calm deepen, its rhythm lulling you like a whispered prayer. The priest's chants rise, invoking Hera, goddess of marriage, and Zeus, her mighty counterpart. You hear the words' cadence, slow and deliberate, weaving a thread between earth and sky. The bride and groom stand together, their heads bowed slightly, their hands clasped as if anchoring each other. You notice the bride's fingers tremble, just for a moment, and you sense her awe, maybe her hope, that the gods are listening. You think of modern ceremonies, vows spoken under arches or in chapels, and smile. Same promises, different audience. Imagine a Greek priest live tweeting, "Hera's on board, #bless union." There's a peculiar ritual you notice. One priest scatters burnt barley grains onto the ground, an offering to appease the gods and ensure fertility. It's an odd act, like tossing rice today but with more smoke and solemnity. You chuckle softly, picturing a guest muttering, "Barley for babies." Who knew? Historians still debate whether this burning was purely symbolic or tied to agricultural cycles, but you let the question slip, caught in the hymn's hypnotic flow. The grain's faint crackle blends with the chants, and you imagine their ash drifting upward, a plea carried to the heavens. You step closer, standing near a clay pillar, its surface cool under your fingers. The courtyard feels smaller now, the crowd hushed, their faces softened by the firelight. You learn these hymns aren't just tradition, they're a contract, binding the couple under divine law. A young woman, perhaps a sister, adjusts a garland of myrtle on the bride's head, its green leaves catching the light. You recall the pomegranates, the woolen thread, the doves, each ritual layering this night with meaning. You wonder what the couple feels, standing in this sacred spotlight, their future tethered to these ancient words. A boy, maybe a temple assistant, nearly drops a jug of wine while refilling cups, his face flushing as the crowd laughs gently. You stifle a grin, wedding bloopers as old as time. The priests continue, their voices unwavering, now calling on Hestia for a peaceful hearth. You feel the air shift, heavier with the gods' imagined presence, though it might just be the night's stillness. You think of the torchlit procession, the honey-smeared doorframe, the feast's laughter, each step leading here, to this moment of divine blessing. The couple's clasped hands seem to glow, a quiet promise amid the sacred smoke. You ease back, finding a low bench to rest against, the wood smooth under your palm. The night air carries the faint bleat of goats, and the rustle of olive leaves beyond the village. A yawn tugs at you, the story's cadence weaving its sleepy spell, meant to cradle you in history's gentle arms. You think of that olive oil, sunscreen, again. Imagine the priests slathering it on to shine for the gods, their robes gleaming like bronze. You'd smell like a sacred grove. The thought brings a drowsy smile. The hymns are winding down now, the barley's smoke fading, and you sense the next ritual stirring. The night ready to dance under the stars. Part 12. You stand in the groom's courtyard, the priest's hymn still lingering in the air like the fading scent of burnt barley. The night feels softer now, the torches burning low, their flickering light dancing across the faces of the gathered crowd. The mood shifts, lighter and freer, as the music picks up, a lively trill of flutes and the rhythmic pluck of lyres. You watch as guests begin to move, their sandals scuffing the packed earth, forming a loose circle under the starlit sky. This is the dance, a joyful release after the solemn rituals, where stories of love and life are woven into every step. You lean closer, drawn to the laughter and motion, the night's rhythm wrapping you in its gentle sway. The dancers move in patterns, their hands linked, their bodies swaying to the music's pulse. You catch the glint of bronze bracelets on wrists, the swirl of chitons catching the torchlight. The bride and groom join the circle, their steps tentative at first, but soon they're laughing. Caught in the communal tide, you feel the energy, not wild but warm, like a hearth fire shared by all. You think of modern wedding dances, first waltzes, chaotic dance floors, and smile. Same joy. Different moves. Imagine the couple posting a clip of this, captioned, "Nailed the Greek groove, #wedding jig." There's an unusual custom you notice. Some dancers toss their sandals into the air mid-step, a playful act meant to invite good fortune. It's quirky, like throwing a bouquet today, though you imagine a sandal landing on someone's head. You chuckle softly, picturing a guest muttering, "Lucky toss, bad aim." Historians still debate whether this sandal throwing was a fertility charm or just festive mischief. But you let the question drift, caught in the dance's infectious rhythm. The sandals thump softly on the earth, and you wince. Someone's fetching those later. You step closer, finding a spot near a low table still scattered with crumbs and wine cups. The air carries the sweet tang of spilled honey and the faint rustle of olive leaves beyond the courtyard. You notice a young girl, maybe a cousin, twirling too fast and nearly tumbling into a guest, her giggles rising like bubbles. You stifle a laugh, kids stealing the show, as timeless as the stars above. You learn the dances tell stories, their steps mimicking myths of gods and lovers, binding the couple to a larger tapestry. You recall the hymns, the doves, the honeyed doorframe, each ritual leading here, to this moment of shared celebration. The music quickens, and the crowd claps, their voices rising in a cheerful chant. You see the bride's face, flushed and bright, her veil long discarded, her eyes locked on the groom's as they spin together. You sense their bond, fragile but growing, rooted in this night's rituals. You think of the torchlit procession, the pomegranates, the burnt barley, each step a thread in their story. You wonder what they feel, moving as one under the gods' gaze, their future shimmering in the firelight. The dancers' shadows stretch long, weaving patterns on the courtyard walls, like a dream painted in flame. You ease back, leaning against a cool stone pillar, its texture rough under your palm. The night air brushes your skin, carrying the distant hoot of an owl, maybe Athena's nod. A yawn tugs at you, the story's cadence lulling you, meant to ease you into history's sleepy embrace. You think of that olive oil, sunscreen, again. Imagine the dancers slathering it on to shine under the torches, their skin gleaming like bronze statues. You'd smell like a festival stall. The thought brings a drowsy grin. The dance is slowing now, the music softening, and you sense the next ritual approaching. The night ready to turn inward. Part 13. You linger in the courtyard, the dance's lively rhythm fading into a soft hum as the flutes and lyres quiet. The night feels intimate now. The torches reduce to glowing embers, their faint smoke curling toward a sky thick with stars. The crowd thins, their laughter softening to murmurs as the bride and groom slip away, guided by a few close family members toward a private chamber. You sense the shift, a delicate pause in the wedding's arc, as the couple prepares for the consummation, a ritual both sacred and hushed. You stay at the courtyard's edge, unnoticed, drawn to the quiet weight of this moment, the air heavy with rose petals and unspoken vows. Outside the chamber, a small group lingers, mothers, aunts, perhaps a priestess, scattering rose petals across the threshold, their fragrance sharp and sweet. You catch the petals' soft rustle as they fall, a gesture meant to bless the couple with fertility and love. You learn this act is more than decoration, it's a plea to Aphrodite, a hope for harmony in the years ahead. You think of modern honeymoons, all champagne and beachside sweets, and smile. Same intent, different petals. Imagine the couple posting a blurry selfie from this moment, captioned, "Petals and prayers, #JustMarried." There's a quirky detail you notice. One end ties a small ribbon of saffron-dyed cloth to the chamber door, a charm to ward off jealous spirits. It's an odd custom, like hanging a "Do Not Disturb" sign with extra mysticism. You chuckle softly, picturing a guest whispering, "Saffron for spirits, not soup." Historians still debate whether this ribbon was a widespread tradition or a family quirk, but you let the thought drift, caught in the night's tender stillness. The ribbon flutters faintly. A bright splash against the dark wood, and you imagine its soft texture, warm from the torchlight. You step back, finding a shadowed corner where the courtyard meets the house. The stone cool under your fingers. The air carries the faint bleat of goats beyond the village, grounding you in this quiet world. You sense the chamber's significance. Not just as a private space but as a ritual space, where the marriage is sealed under the god's gaze. You recall the dance's joy, the hymn's solemnity, the dove's soft coos, each step leading here to this hidden rite. You wonder what the couple feels, alone now, their hands finding each other in the lamplight, their future both daunting and bright. A young boy, maybe a sibling, sneaks a leftover sesame cake from a nearby table, his eyes darting to avoid notice. You stifle a laugh. Wedding snacks, the eternal kid magnet. The group outside the chamber begins to disperse, their voices fading as they return to the courtyard's embers. You learn the consummation isn't just personal, it's communal, a step that binds the families, ensuring the household's continuity. You think of the torchlit procession, the honeyed doorframe, the scattered barley, each ritual a thread in this intricate tapestry. The night feels like a held breath, waiting for dawn to confirm the union. You ease against a low wall, the earth's faint dampness rising through your sandals. A yawn tugs at you, the story's cadence weaving its sleepy spell, meant to cradle you in history's gentle arms. You think of that olive oil, sunscreen, again. Imagine the couple slathering it on for this moment, their skin shining like sacred statues. You'd smell like a fragrant grove. The thought brings a drowsy grin. The courtyard is nearly empty now, the rose petals settling, and you sense the next ritual waiting. The dawn ready to greet the couple as one. Part 14. You stand in the quiet courtyard, the night's rituals now a faint echo as the stars begin to pale. The air feels cooler, laced with the damp scent of earth and the fading sweetness of rose petals scattered hours ago. Dawn is creeping closer, and you sense the village stirring, its rhythm shifting from celebration to renewal. The chamber door opens softly, and the bride and groom emerge, their faces tired but bright, their hands brushing as they step into the morning light. You watch from the courtyard's edge, drawn to this new ritual, the morning after, where the couple greets their new roles and the community seals their union. The night's magic lingers, but the day brings a gentle clarity, wrapping you in its soothing cadence. The groom's mother approaches, her arms full of woven linens, which she drapes over the couple's shoulders like a mantle of belonging. You catch the linen's faint woolly scent, warm and grounding, and learn they're a gift to mark the bride's integration into the household. Her role as wife and keeper of the hearth begins now, under Hestia's quiet gaze. You think of modern post-wedding brunches, all mimosas and sleepy smiles, and grin. Same transition, different props. Imagine the couple tweeting this moment, captioned, "Officially a team, #HearthLife." There's an odd tradition you notice. The mother hands the bride a wooden spindle, its surface worn smooth, a symbol of her new duties in spinning and weaving for the home. It's quirky, like gifting a vacuum cleaner today, but here it's a badge of honor. You chuckle softly, picturing a guest muttering, "Spin well, love well." Historians still debate whether the spindle was purely practical or a nod to cosmic order, tying the bride to fate's threads, but you let the question drift, caught in the morning's calm. The spindle gleams faintly in the dawn light, and you imagine its weight in her hands, steady and purposeful. You step closer, finding a spot near a low stone bench, its surface cool under your palm. The courtyard is filling again. Family and close friends gathering to offer quiet blessings. You notice a young woman, perhaps a sister, adjusting the bride's hair, tucking a stray myrtle sprig back into place. You sense the bride's ease, her shoulders softer now, as if the night's rituals have settled her into this new skin. You recall the rose petals, the saffron ribbon. The dance's joy, each step leading here, to this moment of quiet acceptance. You wonder what she feels, standing beside her husband, the village waking around them. A boy, maybe a cousin, kicks a pebble across the courtyard, grinning when it skitters into a jug. You stifle a laugh, kids and their endless games, as timeless as the dawn. You learn this morning ritual isn't just symbolic, it's practical, a chance for the bride to learn the household's rhythms, from tending the hearth to managing stores. The groom's father offers a small clay jar of honey, a final gift to sweeten their days. You catch its cloying scent, and it grounds you here, in this world of simple abundance. You think of the torchlit procession, the doves' coos, the burnt barley, each ritual a thread in their shared story. You ease back, leaning against a gnarled olive tree, its bark rough under your fingers. The sky is lightning, streaks of rose and gold brushing the horizon, and a yawn tugs at you, the story's rhythm lulling you as intended. You think of that olive oil, sunscreen, again. Imagine the couple slathering it on to shine in the dawn, their faces glowing like new bronze. You'd smell like a sacred grove. The thought brings a sleepy smile. The morning rites are winding down now, the crowd dispersing, and you sense the final chapter approaching, the night's promises settling into the day's light. Part 15. You linger in the groom's courtyard, the morning light now spilling over the village, bathing the stone walls in a soft, golden glow. The air carries the fresh scent of dew-kissed earth, mingled with the faint sweetness of honey from the jar gifted moments ago. The bride and groom stand together, their linens draped loosely, the spindle tucked under her arm like a quiet promise. The crowd has thinned, leaving only the closest family, their voices soft as they exchange final blessings. You sense the wedding's arc drawing to a close, its rituals settling into the broader tapestry of ancient Greek life. You lean against the olive tree, its bark steady under your palm, ready to let this story wrap you in its final, soothing embrace. The village hums gently around you, waking to its daily rhythm, goats bleating, a cart creaking somewhere distant, the low murmur of neighbors stirring. You watch the bride step toward the hearth. A small stone circle at the courtyard's heart, where embers still glow from last night's fires. She kneels, guided by the groom's mother, and adds a handful of kindling. Her movements careful but sure. This act, you learn, seals her role as keeper of the hearth, tying her to Hestia and the home's enduring warmth. You think of modern couples moving into their first apartment, fumbling with keys and dreams, and smile. Same roots, different fires. Imagine them posting this moment, captioned, "Hearth vibes only." #new beginnings. There's a quirky custom you notice. The mother sprinkles a pinch of salt into the hearth's flames, a final charm for protection and purity. It's an odd touch, like tossing glitter for luck today, but here it's sacred, a nod to the gods' watchful eyes. You chuckle softly, picturing a guest whispering, "Salt for safety, not soup." Historians still debate whether this salt ritual was universal or a local flourish, but you let the thought fade, caught in the morning's serene glow. The flames crackle faintly, and you imagine their warmth, a quiet echo of the torchlit procession's fervor. You step closer, your sandals brushing the packed earth, and take in the scene. The groom stands beside his bride, his hand resting lightly on her shoulder. There is a testament to the night's binding rituals. You recall the sacred bath's cool water, the dance's joyful sway, the rose petals' soft fall, each moment a thread in this intricate weave. You wonder what lies ahead for them, in a world of olive groves and oracles, where love is both a choice and a duty. The family begins to drift away, their work done, leaving the couple to their new life. You feel the story's weight, not heavy but full, like a basket brimming with ripe fruit. A young girl, Maybe a neighbor skips past, humming a tune from last night's feast, her braid bouncing. You stifle a laugh, kids carrying the party's echo, as timeless as the hills. You learn this morning marks not just an end but a beginning, where the couple's union strengthens the village, their hearth a new anchor for the community. You think of the pomegranates, the doves, the sandal toss, each ritual a gift to the future. The sky is fully bright now, a clear blue stretching over the horizon, and you feel a yawn tugging at you. The story's cadence lulling you as it was meant to, into history's gentle arms. You ease back, the olive tree's shade cooling your skin, and let your gaze wander to the distant hills. Their slopes soft under the morning sun. You think of that olive oil, sunscreen, one last time. Imagine the couple slathering it on to face their new day, shining like the God's own chosen. You'd smell like a sacred orchard. The thought brings a drowsy grin. The courtyard is nearly empty now, the hearth smoke curling upward, and you feel the story close, its lessons whispering of love, ritual, and the timeless dance of human connection. History, you realize, is never done, it waits, patient and vast, for you to return. You stand at the edge of the village, the morning sun now high, casting long shadows from the olive trees that stretch like quiet guardians over the hills. The wedding's final moments linger in your mind, the hearth's gentle crackle, the bride's steady hands, the faint scent of salt and honey weaving through the air. You feel the world slowing, as if the earth itself is exhaling, content to let the day unfold. The couple is somewhere behind you, stepping into their new life, their laughter a soft echo carried on the breeze. You smile, knowing their story is just one thread in the vast, timeless tapestry of ancient Greece. Yet it feels so close, so human, like a memory you might carry into your own dreams. The village hums faintly, goats bleating, a child's giggle, the distant clink of pottery. You let these sounds wrap around you, warm and familiar, like a blanket on a cool evening. There's no rush here, no need to chase the next moment. You've walked through torchlit paths, tasted the tang of wine, felt the weight of rituals older than the stones beneath your feet. Now you can close your eyes and let the currents of time take you away, drifting on the gentle tide of history's whispers. The gods, the stars, the olive groves, they'll still be here, waiting, whenever you return. You take a slow breath, the air fresh with dew and earth, and feel a quiet trust settle in your chest. These stories, these lives, they're not just relics, they're mirrors, reflecting the hopes and promises we still hold today. You imagine the couple years from now, their hearth warm, their home filled with new voices, new dreams. History doesn't end, it flows, steady and patient, inviting you to linger as long as you like. So rest now, let the morning's light fade, and carry this warmth with you, a soft glow to guide you through the night. You stand at the edge of the village, the morning sun now high, casting long shadows from the olive trees that stretch like quiet guardians over the hills. The wedding's final moments linger in your mind, the hearth's gentle crackle, the bride's steady hands, the faint scent of salt and honey weaving through the air. You feel the world slowing, as if the earth itself is exhaling, content to let the day unfold. The couple is somewhere behind you, stepping into their new life, their laughter a soft echo carried on the breeze. You smile, knowing their story is just one thread in the vast, timeless tapestry of ancient Greece. Yet it feels so close, so human, like a memory you might carry into your own dreams. The village hums faintly, goats bleating, a child's giggle, the distant clink of pottery. You let these sounds wrap around you, warm and familiar, like a blanket on a cool evening. There's no rush here, no need to chase the next moment. You've walked through torchlit paths, tasted the tang of wine, felt the weight of rituals older than the stones beneath your feet. Now you can close your eyes and let the currents of time take you away, drifting on the gentle tide of history's whispers. The gods, the stars, the olive groves, they'll still be here, waiting, whenever you return. You take a slow breath, the air fresh with dew and earth, and feel a quiet trust settle in your chest. These stories, these lives, they're not just relics, they're mirrors, reflecting the hopes and promises we still hold today. You imagine the couple years from now, their hearth warm, their home filled with new voices, new dreams. History doesn't end, it flows, steady and patient, inviting you to linger as long as you like. So rest now, let the morning's light fade, and carry this warmth with you, a soft glow to guide you through the night.